Hello and welcome. Thanks to everyone who is joining us live and everyone who is possibly watching the replay for us to talk about Black Girl Magic. I am here joined with what I call Steph Squared because it's two Stephanies. But I am Rasheem, and to my position over here is...
Another way.
Oh, Lord. See, technology. Technology.
Oh, you pointed me.
I am.
Okay, I'll for this blab, I'll be Steph G. Stephanie Gosa. I'm a life coach and matchmaker, and I have a Tuesday night show about the 42% of Black women who are unmarried.
That would be me. And I am Stephanie. So Steph on Blab. This is the second Blab I've ever co-hosted. It's been fun so far, and I'm not a life coach, but I work, and I'm a single mom, and that's it.
Definitely.
So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So I am super excited. Steph Squared and I, that means both of the Stephanies, talked about this a while ago. They were both super enthusiastic about the idea, and we've been talking about it and really wanting to do it for a long time. So, and we got this nice little outline for everyone today. So I'm just gonna give you guys a brief overview of kind of like how it's gonna flow, because you may see a part and you may get what you need, and the part that you need or want to hear about may not come up yet, and you might want to catch it later. So we're going to just basically do like an overview of defining what Black Girl Magic is. And then we're also going to talk about what it's not. We are going to go over the history of like Black women in this country. Not deep, not like it's like social studies. Don't worry about that. We're just going to give a few bullet points. And then we're going to talk about what it means to be a Black woman today and discuss some of the triumphs that we've had over the years. So I'm going to kick it off and just kind of give a brief overview and explain what exactly Black Girl Magic is and what it is not. So one of the first things that I'll put out there that Black Girl Magic is, it's a combination of resistance and triumph. It is the belief that there is something within every Black woman, regardless of history, social conditioning, or positioning, that is greater than her circumstance. And we see that magic come through when she overcomes major things, whether it is, I forget the gymnast's name. There was recently like one of the first Black gymnasts. I'm like, I don't know. Gab.
Thank
you. See, this is why it's good to have people on the side. So if you're watching the replay, you can't see, but we have a live chat going here, and they are going to be engaging. And some of them are going to jump into the fourth seat, also known as the throne. And so that's a bit about what Black Girl Magic is, right? And so let me talk a little bit about what Black Girl Magic is not. Black Girl Magic is not the strong Black woman credo. It's not the woman who takes on everything and suffers in silence. It is not this chick, although she may have some of this chick in her, but that is not what Black Girl Magic is not. It doesn't mean that she is... Black Girl Magic does not mean that a person is metaphysically somehow beyond being human or superhuman. And it doesn't mean that she's not fallible. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have challenges. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have insecurities. What it means is she has all of that and she still thrives. She still resists and triumphs. So that's a little bit about what it is not and a bit about what it is, just to give you a brief overview. So I'm going to start it with saying what. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to add. I was going to add about the origin of the term. I think it originated in 2014. Kashawn Thompson, she coined the term. She started using the term "Black girls are magic," and she was talking about the accomplishments of Black women that she saw, whether it was on TV or her everyday life. And so it kind of caught on. It went viral. And Rasheem sent me a great resource. There was a magazine that had the same name as the title. So it was Black Girls Are Magic magazine. And it was a magazine for fiction writers, for women of color to submit fiction stories. And there was a little controversy, but basically the Black Girls Are Magic magazine met up with Kashawn and they came to an agreement. And now the magazine is called Black Girl Magic. And so that's why we have the Black Girl Magic hashtag rather than the Black Girls Are Magic. So I want to just interject that little piece of history.
Great information.
That was absolutely
okay.
Perfect.
That's all I got.
No, that was perfect timing, everything.
Cool.
Go ahead, Steph. Were you about
I was just gonna say, for me, it's just, and it could apply to anything, but rising above circumstance, environmentally, psychological, and achieving things that we weren't necessarily perceived to be able to achieve, based on, what the worldview is of Black women, especially in America. So that's what it is for me.
the thing that Black Girl Magic means to me, it just means that there's something that's within me that's greater than everything that came up against me before. There's something that's within every Black woman that's greater than slavery, that's greater than Jim Crow laws, that's greater than domestic violence, that's greater than poverty. And that's what Black Girl Magic means to me. It means that in spite of all of those things, I can resist resist all of that, and I could still triumph. And that's what it means. That's what Black Girl Magic means to me.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm in 100% agreement with everybody. To me, I think that Black women are resilient in a very special way. And when I was thinking about this topic, I'm like, Black women historically have been everything to everybody. Like during slavery, not only were they like taking care of their families when their families were getting ripped apart, they, were subjected to torture and sexual abuse by a master, then would like take care of his kids and like, be a companion to the wife and soothe her while like taking care of the kids and also being ripped away from their husbands and loved ones. So we're special. We just got a special something about us. And that's to me what Black Girl Magic is. We got, I thought of the Maya Angelou poem, Ain't I a Woman, a Phenomenal Woman, where there's just something special about us. People want to be us. They want to walk like us, dance like us, smell like us. There's something really special about a Black woman. So that's what I think of.
Yeah, there's a certain essence or je ne sais quoi about Black women that I think is not only feared, but revered and admired at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, regardless of what you may think, I think a lot of people see Black women as carrying their families and doing things. And, that perception of the strong Black woman, there is some credence to that, so I agree with that as well.
Mm-hmm. So for any men and of course women, because we have men and women joining us, and I'm really excited and thankful for that. If you have any comments in terms of what Black Girl Magic means to you, if you had a magical Black woman in your life, we would like to hear about her. And as you guys are thinking about that, one of the things that I want to do is just give a brief overview, or really just talk about the history of Black women in these United States, and just kind of look over it. So the first Black woman came here in 1619 as a slave. It was 3 Black women and 17 men. And the first time a Black woman gave birth on U.S. soil was 1624. And that was the first actually African that was actually born in America, and that was 1624. The first time that Black women, and this might be good too for that 42%, the first time that Black women were even allowed to get married was in 1641, for them to be considered like, that you can get married. So for those first several years that they, even that first woman who had their first child at 1624, she wasn't married at that time, largely because she couldn't be. It wasn't even legal for her to. In 1662, there was a law called the Hereditary Law that Virginia enacted that just basically says that your identity is going to be determined by the status of your mother. So if a woman if a slave woman gave birth to a child, regardless of who the father was, that child was going to be deemed a slave. It was going to be deemed property, according to the 1662 law. Also,
Right.
1845, Sojourner Truth, she was born Isabel Bumfrey, but she began speaking out for all of us, but really as a Black woman. And Harriet Tubman escapes in 1849, and Fanny Jackson built the first school to educate Black women. And then I'm just going to jump a little bit ahead and just talk about 1992. Mae Jemison was the first African-American female astronaut. And there's so much more in terms of that like whole story of the evolution of the Black woman constantly, from the time she got here to, even now. I was actually just talking to my husband earlier, and I was telling him, and I don't know if many people know this, that, Black women couldn't even vote until 50 years after Black men were allowed to vote. In terms of legally, even though neither one were really able to really exercise their right to vote. In fact, even Black men were granted the right to vote before white women were. And so that's one of the ways that we identify citizenship, or we don't give citizenship in this country, is through the right to vote. So regardless of the fact that the first Black woman came here in 1619, she wasn't even allowed to vote until 1920. So all of that time, she's not even considered a citizen. And then even after she has a right to vote in 1920, she couldn't really exercise that vote until the Voting Rights Act of 1965. So you have all of this time that this woman has been here, raised children, raised her children, raised your children, built this, did all of these things, and she is still not considered a citizen until very recently, like my grandmother. You know what I mean? So that's not that far as we talk about that. I'm going to hand it over to Steph to add. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot it's two Stephs.
We lost her.
So one of the questions, I guess you'll handle this one, so Steph. Just talk about in terms of how you feel, in terms of like, what does it mean to you to be a Black woman today?
Okay, so I guess I thought about the question, and I think it's the juxtaposition between strength and femininity, and it's knowing that we have a job to do, but being soft enough and being caring enough and being understanding enough to care for and love the Black man, and caring for ourselves. I think self-care for Black women is really important, because I feel like we live in a very hostile environment, especially our Black men as well. And so, and I'm trying to organize my thoughts a little bit, but, I think we want to be independent. We want to be able to take care of ourselves and be productive, and we want to just be happy and, make money and do the things that we want to do in life. There's a lot of things that are there in place culturally and systematically within America that make it harder for us to do that, but we tend to persevere and tend to rise above that. And so I think that for me, being a Black woman, there's the career aspect, the family aspect, and the love aspect. And so career-wise, for me, it's always achieving more than my white or Asian counterparts, not kissing ass, so that I can stand in my truth. And when I receive accolades at work, I know that it's because I earned it. And then on the love front, it's more of understanding the Black man, the hostile environment that he lives in, which is even more hostile than the one that I exist in, I would say, to a certain degree. And then also raising our kids and making sure that they understand the Black experience, what it means for mommy and daddy to be Black, displaying Black love in a positive way, and mentoring our kids to understand their history, because there's a lot of pain in a lot of things that have happened to our mothers and our grandmothers. And I think we need to share that. And so my grandmother talked a lot to me about her life growing up in East Texas, living in a house with a dirt floor, and my great grandmother cleaning houses for white people, my grandfather being shot and killed by white men, just different things of that nature. And you can't shield our children from that. So I have a responsibility to love and care for my mate, not shielding my children from the realities of being Black, particularly in America, and striving for excellence, whether it's educationally or, in a business, whether you work for yourself or somebody else. So for me, all of those things wrapped up in being, Black and still being strong, but being soft at the same time when I'm at home, and not letting that hostile environment, not bringing that into my household. So I think for me, that's what it means to be a Black woman today. But, I don't know what you guys think.
I love that.
Mhm.
That was good. That's a good summary of all the areas.
Yeah.
I think part of being a Black woman today too is embracing the good and the bad about us and making it work. And I think that's something that we're like, well, I'm gonna own my strengths, but not my weaknesses, and to embrace everything, how we are. There's a tension there. I don't think it's in conflict. I recognize that this might not be something that's great, but I want to do better. So embracing and still moving forward in progress. I think Black women have been doing that successfully. Like, okay, there's this barrier or there's something that I'm lacking. I'm going to accept it, but in the same breath, also try to make it better. So I see women balancing that line, very well.
That's awesome.
I love that. I think for me, it means that I have these two intersecting identities that make Black women, and I'm a Black woman, that make me uniquely positioned in this space of America. And I feel like it makes me feel uniquely positioned because not only of history and the social context that puts me in, but also in the identity, there is racism and there is also sexism, right? And you experience both of those. And I'm very much aware of that. And I'm very much aware of my identity. Like when I think of my identity, I definitely think Black woman. I don't necessarily separate either of them. And I absolutely feel that Black womanhood is definitely a culture. Like it is a culture, and the reason why I say it's a culture, and it is an identity, because it has its own music, it has its own sound, it has its own language, it has its own way of being. Whether I say yes, you know what I mean, or whether my butt is bigger than some other people, or whether whether I want to talk more about hair care products, or whether I got an issue with my edges. There are some things that are uniquely Black and woman at the same time. So that's what I think about, and that's what it means to me. A lot of the times to be a Black woman, because there is something. It means something cultural. It actually means something, for lack of a better word. I don't want to necessarily say feminine, but womanly. And I love what Steph said about. Are you gonna be Steph S for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Or so Steph. I love what this is. So Steph. This is Steph G. Whichever direction. Okay. I love what so Steph said about how did you put it, Steph? Strong and
the juxtaposition of femininity and strength.
Yes, I love that, because there was so much in our history where Black women weren't even considered feminine. Right. Like a lot of the aspects of femininity were attributed to white women, but we weren't considered feminine. And even when it comes into motherhood, which we'll have a motherhood blab at another time, how they looked at mothers should stay home and they should take care of the kids and this, that, and the third. But if Black women, no, you don't stay home and take care of the kids. You go out, you work, and then you come and take care of your kids, and you take care of my kids. And if you're working in the field, then you just going to have to strap your kid on your back. So it had a strong combination of that strength and also femininity, even though we haven't been traditionally considered feminine. And I think, yes, it was Sojourner Truth. When Sojourner Truth had her famous "Ain't I a Woman" speech, where how it came about is they were at this Akron, I think it was in Akron. I don't remember the location of the conference, but it was at this conference, and it was a conference about the women's right to vote. And so Sojourner got up to talk, and she was the only Black person there. But she got up to talk, and there was a man in the audience that said, how can we really expect a woman to be able to vote when she can't even get into a carriage without assistance? She's so frail. And Sojourner Truth said, "Ain't I a woman?" She's like, "I've worked in the field. I've worked hard as any man. I bared children. I have the breasts to prove that ain't I a woman?" And at that time, she was simultaneously speaking to her status as her slave status, as well as her femininity, to say, "I am a woman." And she kind of shut it down and like dropped the mic proverbially. But
wow.
That's what it means. That's what it means to me to be a Black woman today.
I think that's a good segue into the statistics, if we're ready for that.
Yep.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about the statistics about how Black women are achieving in the world today. So I found an Upworthy article, and I will definitely share. I'm not going to plagiarize and take other people's words.
All right. What is it?
No plagiarism.
86% of Black women graduate from high school, and the percentage of Black women in college, which is 9.7%, surpasses all other groups in the U.S. More than 50% of Black women between 18 and 24 are pursuing higher education. Like 1 in 2 Black women, 18 and 24, are pursuing higher education, which is amazing. From 1997 to 2013, the number of businesses started by Black women grew more than 250%. And as of 2013, there's over 1 million companies owned by Black women, and those companies employed more than 270,000 people and generated $44.9 billion in revenue. And as far as politics, Black women serve in 82% of state legislatures. And as of now, 259 Black women serve in 41 of the 50 state legislatures. In Georgia and Maryland in particular, there's a concentration. Black women hold more than 10% of the seats, which is awesome. In the last 2 presidential elections, Black women led the nation in voter turnout. 70% voted in 2012. And the next statistics I thought were really important, because this is often where the media perception doesn't match the reality. So, and I'm gonna celebrate this statistic. So, of all new HIV diagnosis, the rate for Black women is decreasing. The birth rate for teens is decreasing, and our life expectancy is increasing. So we're living better lives. We're taking care of ourselves. We're healthy. So those are some statistics on our achievement.
I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to go up to one of the comments that Crystal said in terms of what being a Black woman means to her. And she says, being Black to me means wearing 1,000 hats and taking care of everything. This sometimes makes us seem tougher or harder. It's then that we have to fight the stereotype of being the angry Black woman. Everybody know that stereotype. Unfortunately, it is not only the white race that puts us in that category, but also Black men. I agree with Steph about balancing strength with femininity. It is tough. I am so feeling that. And I so agree in terms of the challenge of balancing that. Because, and then, so I have like, so much came to my mind. First of all, there's so many stereotypes. There's Mammy, Jezebel, I mean, there's just so many stereotypes about Black women. Sapphire, which is this chick right here. Then
the welfare queen.
The welfare queen. Girl, don't get me started on the welfare queen.
Mm-hmm.
But when they say things like angry Black woman, the challenge that I have with that is there sometimes where I actually am angry. But angry isn't part of my identity as a Black woman. I'm angry because I got some shit to be angry about.
It's definitely a feeling.
Everybody else has a range of emotions. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steph.
I'm sorry to interrupt, because that's my friend Crystal, like a close friend of mine, and so we both work in corporate America, and we're usually the only Black person in the room, and a lot of times it's the only Black woman in the room. I guess I would say I've kind of pierced that good old boys club in my job, because of some networking opportunities that I've had. And so this is a conversation she and I have a lot. It's toting that line. And while I don't necessarily like to placate and to assimilate into white culture, corporate America is a different landscape. You play certain games, and you do certain things to endear people to you, that can help you in your career. And I'm not talking about Uncle Tomming or whatever those types of words are. But what I'm saying is that, and I'm saying is that when you're strong and when you're opinionated, it's you get criticized on the delivery of what you're saying. And while they want you to be a leader and show these traits, then that white male dominated culture will categorize you a certain way and say, well, she's too difficult to work with. She's not promotable. And so you have a goal of moving up this proverbial corporate ladder. However, you have to know how to navigate that corporate landscape. And it's not easy. It's very, very hard. And it's very hard to do, especially keeping your dignity and your integrity intact. And so she's a little bit more feisty than I am. So, we kind of have this conversation. I'm like, you can't say it like that. You can get your point across, but you gotta switch it around. She's like, how you know what to say? Cause I've been in those meetings in those rooms, and I look at how the white women navigate, because they deal with that at a certain level as well, that sexism piece. However, they're relegated to being their sexism relegates them to being stupid, but they don't know what they're talking about. We're relegated to being angry and we're difficult to work with. And so I watch how they navigate that, and I use those things to help me in my career. And I've learned from some women that you would call a pit bull in a skirt, those types of women. But I admire those women, because if you're a vice president and I see that you're able to play in that boys club and you're doing it successfully, I'm going to take those tips from you. And so it's not necessary. A lot of people are like, well, you're not being authentic. You're not being true to who you are. But in that environment, you have a very strong lens on you. And you have to be very careful about what you say and how you say it, because your job is to make more money, feed your family, and live a comfortable lifestyle. So if you're going to work for people, that's kind of what you have to play that game. Yeah. So that's just some of the things that she and I talk about, is we talk about careers a lot, and both are very ambitious. And so that's a lot of that conversation stems from that. So I just wanted to add that.
No,
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to piggyback real quick.
Please.
I love what you said, Steph, and I think that comes back to the balancing act where you have to know what's worth it to you, right? I have a girlfriend, works at a law firm. They don't want her to come to work with her hair curly, right? She passed it for a year. She straightened her hair every single day. She Creole as hell, from Baton Rouge, straightening her hair every day. And she's like, this is not worth it to me. There's some things that are worth it to sacrifice to be subversive, right? But for her, going to the country club and hearing all the racist jokes, not worth it, right? So I think there's that balancing act. And again, here comes Black girl magic, where we're able to navigate those channels by staying who we are, by staying true to who we are. And so that reminds me of another story, which I'll probably save for later, but about being subversive, of getting where, if you're going to play, you got to play, right? If you want to play in the game, you got to play within the game and get to a point where what you say and how you present yourself maybe doesn't matter as much as it did before. And I love hearing stories about people presenting to get the job differently than they do showing up every day, and not in a negative way. Like, you know, like you didn't know you were hiring this kind of Black person when you hired me, right? So I love those stories, because you got to get your foot in the door. Then once you get in the door, you can shake shit up, and you can say, and you can challenge people because you're fair. So I love stories like that. I hope we hear some stories about that.
That's awesome. I agree with you 100%. You got to get that foot in the door, and then you can kind of do your own thing.
Yeah.
So.
I think both of you bring up really good points, and I'm so glad. And I'm so glad that Crystal put in that comment, and I hope she, you know, is able to add more. And when we're done with this part and open up the seat, I hope she'll consider joining us.
Yes.
And what that speaks to me is, you know, how we have to navigate, you know, Black faces and white spaces, and how to navigate that, and how to navigate that and still be true to yourself, but still live to play another day. You know what I mean? Because you still have bills, you know.
It's hard.
It's unfortunate that homegirl had to, you know, straighten her hair every day just for a job. And when people say things about, I've said I want to be free, and they'll say things, but you're not in chains. What do you mean you want to be free? I want my sister to not have to straighten her hair every day, because they don't have nothing to do with how intelligent she is or with what she's capable of doing. I want to not have to do that. I want not to have to worry about that. I want to not have to walk on eggshells when I talk to you about airing my grievances, and not have to worry about you thinking I'm an angry Black woman because I'm coming at you about something that you misrepresented on, right? I mean, all of those things, and just, you know, pushing back against different stereotypes. So I think that's something. Anybody want to say anything on what? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I guess what I'm saying, well, for me is, you know, thinking about your friend and she's straightening her hair because these people, you know, don't necessarily, you know, like this appearance, and especially in these times, you see a lot of this. You know, me wearing my hair in its natural state, that's about you. Your reaction to my hair, it's just about you. And if you're offended by my hair or it doesn't represent, then that says more about you. And what I'm saying is, it's not my job as a Black person to, number one, educate all white people about, say, my hair. And then, you know, it's sort of our expression of who we are is offensive to a lot of white people, because then they feel as though, oh, it's a sign, a show of power. And so they're not understanding that, you know, that the white privilege lens that they see things, you know, and that my expression of my power is who I am and how I wear my hair and how I talk and the things that I say and the way that I walk. All of those things are an aggregate of who I am as a Black woman. It's offensive to you because you just see it through the lens of white privilege. And it's sort of, you know, it's kind of like how like there are plenty of racist white people, but white people get really offended if you call them a racist. It's like, well, I'm not racist because, you know, so it's all those different things. I kind of align it with the way that people react to Black Lives Matter. Me, an expression of my power is offensive to you. It is really just about you and the white guilt that you feel, you know, and And so, like, some things are not worth it. I probably wouldn't work in an environment where I had to straighten my hair every day unless that was my job as a model or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in corporate America, there's no need for that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have been lucky to say that I've never had someone approach me and tell me they didn't like my hair and it needs to be straightened or pulled back or tamed or, you know, those things they like to say, or it doesn't look manageable, you know, all that crazy stuff. But it's just, when we rise up and show and express who we are, white people are just offended, but it's really just their own white guilt that's talking. And you kind of, and I see that. And so, you know, it kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, you know, if you really knew, if you really thought about it, it's just a hairstyle. You know, when you wear your hair straight and you blow drying it and coming to work with it wet and all this other crazy stuff, I'm not offended by that because that's just who you are.
Yeah.
You know, why should your hair offend me?
Mm-hmm.
But I should be, because all I see is white images.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I should be offended by that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I don't know if I'm off track, but that's just kind of like
Not.
the way that I see white people getting offended when we express our power or our authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just white guilt and white privilege and all of that they're dealing with internally.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and I also think that, you know, that is a level of supremacy to that whole aspect. And I think when people think of white supremacy, they think of Klan, neo-Nazi, skinhead,
Yeah.
you know, type of thing. But it's really just the idea that, you know, white is right or better, and everything else is a all deviant. Right? Like deciding what is the fact that you have the power to decide how I can wear my hair. You're exercising extended authority over my person.
right?
That's like back to ownership. You know what I mean? And it's so normalized that that people don't see a problem with it because it's so normalized. Another example of white supremacy, and I was trying to explain this to a teacher, or actually to a principal, the fact that your history is required and mine is alternative, or it's one chapter in an entire year of learning history, you're putting yourself above, you know what I mean? You're putting yourself above me. You're saying that you are supreme. And that's just another way of exercising control over someone else's life. And the fact that we have to succumb to that sometimes because it's like your friend who has to straighten her hair, it's her livelihood. You're the only one who's providing the job. You know what I mean? You've decided what's professional. Why can't these earrings be professional? Right? They don't got no bad swear words on them. They're not going out cutting up people. It's not going to stop me from doing my job. So the more ethnic it is, the less professional it is. Right? And the fact that one person gets to decide that for everybody is a level of supremacy that is not even, I don't even think it's normal. That's just the way it is, you know?
And that goes for really, that's across the board, because when we say, like, you made me think of the term nude, right? In anything, makeup, pantyhose, bras, anything, nude is white.
Right.
And up until very recently, big companies, Almay, Mac, I think Mac, they started a while ago, but Mary Kay, these big lines don't have shades for people of color, or they have one, right? They got dark, and then they got all kind of light, you know, and nude. So it permeates our society of how we think about things, how we approach things, because we can't even buy a Band-Aid that matches our skin color. We're just now getting, you know, bras that are actually nude, that are actually our skin color. So,
ballet tights. You know, my little niece that's a dancer, you know, trying to find tights that match her skin. Or like Christian Louboutin, he came out with a range of nude pumps that are all different shades of nude. Like, he can't even keep those things in stock, like, you know, because there is such a demand for nude pumps of different skin tones. You know, I definitely agree with that. And I do agree with And I'll just share something quickly. We're talking about, something ethnic is bad. So in my last position, I was looking to hire someone, and I saw a resume of a young lady, and her name was Shaniqua.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my manager passed her over because of her name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the resume, not only was she had global management experience, had been an expat, lived in Singapore, lived in London, had worked for major corporations. I mean, extensive, beautiful resume, and was really overqualified for the job, but she had, taken maternity leave and was trying to get back into the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, how could you pass over this resume?
Mm-hmm.
It was because of the name.
Mm-hmm.
And why? And so for me, one thing that irritates me is ethnic is bad, and we play into those things as well. As, oh, why is her name Lawanda, or why is her name, Lucretia, or whatever. That's ghetto. I would never name my child that. You can't help the way that your parents named you, for one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can change it, but you do have a name. And two, I don't think that we do ourselves a disservice by playing into those things that white people want us to play into. They want us to do that. It is divisive. And so I feel as if I'm going to be in a position of management and hiring, I think it's my duty to not look at every resume, whether it be a white person, Asian person, black person, regardless of what their name is. What can they actually do? I just could not see myself as a black person and passing over the Shaniquas and the Lucretias of the world just because of a name. But there are black people that will do that, and they think it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not.
Mm-hmm. I love what you said in terms of us playing into it, because we do. Like, we'll say, like, I've heard black women, we'll be quick to say that's ghetto, or that's, I mean, all types of things. The way that we internalize white supremacy, like we look at ourselves through somebody else's eyes,
right? It can take
turn around and let's just say Miley Cyrus do it. And it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Right?
I saw somebody say something about hairstyles in the military. So now all these white people are finding out about like cornrows and like what was the other? Oh, they just like Cosmopolitan just found out about hot combs. They were like, there are these wonderful things that heat up. Like, this stuff's been around for centuries. Like, we've had this for a while, but again, it's weird when we do it. It's other when we do it, and now it's in style or it's trendy when someone else does it. That also made me think of the ethnic aisle in the store. Like, isn't most of the food we have ethnic? Like, from other ethnicities? Like, I don't understand. You got the Mexican, like, you got the tortillas and the salsa and the Indian stuff, but then like you don't have an ethnic aisle for like the spaghetti or like, any of the other stuff we stole from other,
That's an example of supremacy to me, because our stuff is normal, right? Like, white is right, it's normal, it's mainstream. Everything else is alternative or deviant, and they don't see that, or other, and you get tired of being otherized. You don't. It's crazy because they don't understand like the idea that white is right and that it is white supremacist thinking. It is in everything.
It permeates.
Yeah.
It is in everything, and it's so normal that they don't challenge you saying those earrings are too ethnic, or that's unprofessional, or I'm going to need you to straighten your hair. Right? There's nothing wrong with them exercising authority over your body in that case to them.
Because they've been doing it. They've been exercising,
Right. Yeah. Or even us, or even people of color adopting that. That is the right thing. This is the right way to do it. Who said that that's the right way? Who said that that's professional? Who said that that's the best?
Right.
Yeah, I even think proponents of Black Girl Magic can fall into those traps too, of like otherizing us. Like, we are this magical fairy unicorn, like, I know I'm Yeah, yeah. And so we got to ground ourselves too, and like we're not mysterious or exotic. When we say Black girl magic, that's not what we mean. So that's I want to make that clear too.
Love that point. And I think another reason why it's good to make that point, the point of also that it's not the strong Black woman credo, is because I think a lot of times people have used that as a reason to not support and give assistance to. Like they'll say Black women are resilient.
Oh yeah.
They don't need our help. Black women, you know, it doesn't mean that we're infallible. It doesn't mean anything like that. And that's also why I love, I feel like Shonda Rhimes does this well with the Black characters that she uses, because they're so strong, like How to Get Away with Murder. They're so strong, but they're still vulnerable and soft and have challenges, and they're still human. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why she can get away with
Black girl magic.
Right, there you go.
She just wave her magic wand. It was the look. It was the look and the hand.
Right. She did that magic wand real quick.
But yeah, I was thinking too. There was a study that came out that said that Black people are underdiagnosed and under medicated because doctors think that they're so resilient, right? Like they're like, oh, but you okay, you know? So we're literally dying because professional doctors are saying, oh, you're fine, you'll get over it, you know. They're looking at how people are diagnosed and they're getting it wrong a lot.
You know what? Did you guys see this article about this nurse that was fired for her racist comments on Facebook regarding Black Lives Matter? You know, and she was basically saying Black people, you know, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, and you know we need to get rid of these niggers and whatever, just crazy stuff. And just think about a person with that sort of view and how she applies her standard of care.
Yep.
And that was the crux of how she was basically fired. People said that a person, you don't know who's going to walk into that hospital room, into that emergency room. You need to use the same standard of care from whoever it is that you touch. But because you have this certain view, I have to be concerned.
I think I need some help right now. All right. So on to the next part. I'm sure she's gonna come back. On to the next part of what we wanted to do. So for people who are, hey Xanadu, I love when people are coming in. You know what? Let me just shout out. Let's take a moment to shout out, Steph, all the people that are in the room.
Sure.
I don't know if it shows in the same order, but I'll say a name, then you say a name.
Okay.
So thank you, Dante, for joining us.
Hey Kente, thanks for hopping on.
James Jones, thank you for being here.
The not offensive dude, I see him. Hi, how are you?
Mr. Wake Up Better, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Crystal, thanks for hopping on.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Eddie.
Xanadu.
And waiting to excel.
All right.
Too.
All right.
Thank all of you guys for being here. Just wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge you being here and just show appreciation. Thank you to everyone who's watching live. I just want to do a quick recap. You may have caught us at the very beginning. This is kind of the middle part. I just want to do a recap, and then we're going to go ahead and go further. We do want to open it up for more live Q&A and open up the third seat. I like to call it the throne. To come and join us live and share some of your thoughts. So some of the things that we went over already was defining what Black girl magic is, defining what it's not. Each of us shared a little bit about what Black girl magic means to us. We shared a brief chronology of Black women since coming to America. And is that where we start? Oh, and what does it mean to be a Black woman today? And we also discussed Black woman achievements. One of the things that I wanted to talk about too, and we kind of hinted on it, a little bit in terms of the stereotypes, and I know Steph G mentioned it in terms of Black women in the media, like how we are seeing ourselves represented, and what are some images. And please, people who are watching live, please do feel free to chime in, type in your responses. how do you feel about some of the ways you're portrayed in the media? What are some images that you feel like, oh, this represents that I could see myself in this, or this reminds me of my cousin or my sister? And then this one, another one is just like, this is entirely too stereotypical. I don't know any Black girl who's like that, or a very small percentage of Black girls who are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any come up for you? I'll share one for me that I love seeing. But I still have some little thoughts in my head that, you know, that she's very much like a super matriarch, but which is not necessarily a bad thing. But Suits is a show called Suits, and it has lawyers, and Gina Torres is the what do they call them? What type of lawyer is she? She is a senior partner. She's a managing partner at this particular law firm, and I really like seeing her. I like her interaction. I don't know a lot of Black women lawyers. I know one Black woman lawyer, and she has swag. And I just you know another Black woman.
I'm a lawyer.
Oh, you are? Bam! Do you watch the show?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I like seeing her, and that's one of the things I like. I'll say another one that I like is how to. I won't say too much on this if you guys want to talk about How to Get Away with Murder too.
Yes.
But one of my favorite episodes of How to Get Away with Murder is when she sat in that mirror and she took off the makeup.
Yes.
Because I felt like that was a very vulnerable scene, and it was pretty much I had seen her be strong and be tough and be all of these things, and then she sits there in front of the mirror and she's kind of, because when you go out you have to wear this mask and this armor to keep to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like when I saw her do that, that was kind of like her taking off her cape and being vulnerable. Mm-hmm. and I like that. So I'll let you guys talk about Black women in the media and how you feel about how they're portrayed.
Okay, I'll go. I think that there's some. I have an issue with some reality shows because I feel like they don't portray reality, or a very small percentage of Black people and women in particular. Mm-hmm. And so I don't have cable. I think I said this on the 42% Blab. I don't have cable, so nothing I do affects ratings. Like if I don't watch a show or I do watch a show, it doesn't matter because I watch everything online. But I think it's important to be careful of what we ingest, right, on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And so I try to be conscious about if I'm like, for example, I started watching a show called Sisters in Law. So I'm thinking, okay, Black women who are lawyers, this is gonna be a good show, you know, come together. They were all in Atlanta. And it was so terrible. I just had to stop in the first episode because they're tearing each other down, especially, I mean, in certain professions, Black people, let alone Black women, make up a very small percentage. Like I think in Portland, there's like 132 Black lawyers, right? So that's a very small number. So for them to be going at each other and just being divisive, that really hurt my spirit. Mm. But I like the portrayals of Black women that are real and realistic, but also, you know, they show all parts of us. And I think I'm still struggling with being Mary Jane, but I think that's a good start where you have a person, a woman of color in a certain position. It shows that, okay, Mary Jane is an anchor on this major TV network. She's going through different issues with her coworkers, with her friends, in her love life, with her family. And I think that to me is more realistic than some of the, like, to be specific, Tyler Perry, like gloom and doom, like, oh, everything's terrible all the time, you know? Because I want to see a Black woman I want to see a Black woman at the top of her game, but I also want to see the struggles. I want to see the real, the everyday life. So I think that's a good portrayal. There was another show, and I don't think it got renewed. I watch Uncle Buck. Y'all watch that now? With it's on ABC, I think, with Nia Long.
They canceled it.
They canceled it. See, this why? Damn. See, I don't know. Uncle Buck, and what's the other one with Tracy Ellis Ross and Anthony Anderson?
Oh, Blackish.
Blackish. I loved that show. I thought you have a doctor and a media exec. You have, you got your black children. They talk about being light skinned versus being dark skinned. They have the mother and the father. I think that was a positive portrayal. And in particular, they had an episode about some of the police shootings. There was, so they're not only are they portraying a family different, but they also are talking about current events. I thought that was really cool.
Okay. Two things. I do watch How to Get Away with Murder, and I think Viola Davis's character is very strong, very intelligent, but extremely flawed. And I also feel that way about Gabrielle Union as Mary Jane. She's really flawed. I think that's closer to real life in a way, but to Crystal's point, I think that Mary Jane does have that certain stereotype of a strong black woman who can't keep a man or will do manipulative things to get a man. And not only that, she has a certain I would say vindictive sort of part to her personality that isn't that flattering. But that is certain people, that is real life. We're all of mixture of certain personality traits, and no one person is this one way. Now, one character that I don't like is I don't like Scandal. I don't like Kerry Washington's character. I mean,
say more about that. Why don't you like her character?
The premise of having an affair with a white man and that permeating into people's homes every day, and we're already seen as sluts and Jezebels, and that's kind of the way we, the race mixing kind of started it within our own culture. Is these white masters sleeping with our black women. It just doesn't sit right in my spirit, but for some people they love that show. It's a very popular show, right, raping our black women. So it's just very frustrating. I do agree there's images in reality TV I don't like. There's some reality shows it's like a train wreck. Like, I like to watch it. I don't know, like Black Ink is one where the people are heavily flawed. Oh my God, they're very crazy. Like, I don't know any people like this. But they have real problems, like issues with child support, issues with drinking, the father dying from AIDS. Like, they have really serious issues. And I think that's what they talk about, that kind of thing. So it's not just the fighting and the ratchetness that I see, but how they kind of navigate some of their personal problems. That's the part I actually like watching. I'm very clear about when I see something on TV, whether it's scripted or reality TV, seeing it for what it is and not allowing it to dictate my narrative. But however other people see it, and they will characterize us as such based on what's being promoted. So while I understand it and I see it as, there's entertainment, there's this, there's that, everything is not for everybody. There are certain images I think that are being promoted as mainstream when they're really not. Most of my friends are professionals. Most of my girlfriends are married. Most of my girlfriends have kids. They're successful. Most of my friends are homeowners. So it's definitely not in my view, but but I understand kind of where that is coming from. What I kind of get irritated about really is when, with reality TV, how they engineer the storylines, and it just doesn't seem authentic. I think the authenticity of shows like Black Ink make it a little bit more endearing than, say, Love and Hip Hop, because the storyline is just too crazy. It's just not even plausible. I can see a dude getting locked up over child support issues, but just drama and fighting over a man, and like that kind of stuff, it's like, I don't see that happening in my everyday life. So
how much with that comment, how accountable do you hold the people who choose to do those shows for that? Like, I think on one hand, some people say, well, you know, these actors or, you know, these actors or real life people shouldn't choose to do the show, but, you know, they're grown, so if they want to do it, how do you balance that the responsibility of that perception and then choosing to be on the show?
I find it hard to say, well, you know what, Mona Scott Young, who is the executive producer of Love and Hip Hop, should be the ambassador for Black people. You know, maybe I don't want her to be my ambassador. You know, maybe she's not qualified. Just like they had this meeting about Black Lives Matter and all these people got together, all these Black celebrities, and Life Jennings was in the game were like, oh yeah, Black people just need to get armed and go shoot up all these cops. Like, that's not who I want as my ambassador. Yeah. It's like, so
like, you're not speaking for me. I didn't say that.
You're not speaking for me. And I don't put that challenge on her, because there's so many, just because you have celebrity, you can do whatever you want with your celebrity and your platform. I'm never going to say he ought to be doing it. However, there should be, but I'm not going to assign it to one particular person as well. Mona has this huge platform and she's doing this and this. Mona is getting her checks and going on. And I think it's unfair to try to make spokespersons out of people that don't want to be that. They don't want it. You know, let the people who want it and then can articulate it in a way that is understood clearly, like a Jesse Williams, let them do it. It's not for everybody. Yeah. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I love what both of you guys are saying in terms of, I mean, because what I feel like I hear you saying is like, we want diversity. Like, I don't mind seeing, like, I don't know who was it put it in the feed. It might have been Crystal. I don't mind seeing Ratchet, but I don't want to see only Ratchet.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to see Ratchet powerful, strong, weak, you know, this way, that way. It's just when those are the only images that are portrayed that it just really gets annoying. And also, I don't even want to see one person the same way, because we're multifaceted. Like, you know what I mean? There's so many aspects. I'm an intellectual person. I'm a sexual person. I'm a mom. I like to write. I like to get crunk. I like to turn up. I like to turn down. So, you know what I mean? A lot. And then being able to allow ourselves to express ourselves in the variety of ways and not feel like we're feeding into a stereotype, right? Like, so if I want to go to a party and turn up, I got to worry about them thinking I'm like the chick from Love and Hip Hop. You know what I mean? And or that's the only image that people decide to hold on to. So I love what everybody is saying. It feels like I feel like everybody is saying that they just want to see more diverse images. I'm just going to read some stuff from the chat. And if something pops up for you guys, feel free to read anything from the chat. Narkissa, tell me if I'm not saying that right. Or Narkissa, I'm saying, I actually dislike the way in which the women characters on Greenleaf are being displayed. I am on the fence. I haven't seen Greenleaf.
I haven't either.
So maybe you could tell us more about that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that. Okay. So I'm not sure about that show. Oh, so it was Crystal who said those Ratchet shows are entertaining. Where did I lost it in the feed? Are entertaining. The problem is this feed is moving a little bit fast. Okay. The problem is when those shows are the majority, which feeds into basically saying it feeds into like the negative stereotype. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I also I like what you said, Steph, when you said you can't cast a responsibility on someone who doesn't want it, right? And I always have this debate and this tension, because I also know that the shows that are being pitched are pitched because they think people will watch them. Like, that's the whole point. The whole point is for people to be glued to the TV. So that's what they're after. That's their goal. That's their it's not necessarily to uplift and encourage, and it's to how many viewers can we get? How can we make these checks?
How can we get people to pay for advertising?
Exactly. So to me, I think the responsibility, part of it is on us too as consumers, right? But it's a cycle. We watch stuff that we like, but they pitch stuff that we like. So, you know, it's on both of us. So I kind of struggle with that sometimes too. Like, figuring out, well, like you said, Steph, you may understand it, but this might be contributing to some misunderstandings in society, right? Like you get it, you're straight, but you know, if and this is where stereotypes come from.
Right.
If that's all they see of us, they see the news, it's all negative, it's all crime, it's all bad. They see the shows and we acting ratchet. They see, you know, and this could go for our children too, our families, our friends, our circle. So it's both, right? I would never blame somebody for getting a check. You're not my ambassador. I don't want you to speak for me. It's all good. But we have some responsibility too, and I think some of it does fall on them as well.
So are any of you Greek?
Say that again. Greek? No, I'm not Greek.
So just one last point. And just to, you know, kind of just show the display of power that we do have. There was a show on VH1 about Black Greek life, and it was very negative, very, very negative. And people petition, and through the power of these organizations, these AKA Delta, whatever, very powerful organizations, that show was taken off the air. And that was a Mona Scott Young show. So we do have the power to remove things that we don't like. But in this case, there was a very powerful engine behind that. Yeah, which is historically Black organizations who are very well funded, very well respected, saying we don't want these girls on here representing us. Furthermore, you need to take this off. Yeah, you know, and so many people petitioned to get that show removed, and I felt bad for all my friends, all my AKA Delta friends, and things of that nature, because that was definitely not a representation of what I know to be true based on personal experiences. So so there is power in that. And I know, you know, once a show has a certain machine behind them, you know, from Hollywood, like a Love and Hip Hop, it is going to be more difficult versus that being a newer show. But that power is there, and we just have to wield it in certain ways, you know, when we don't want to see those images.
No, that's a good point. So since we're on the topic of media and the images that we like and don't like or feel represent us and the variety that we want, when you were a little Black girl, and please do respond in the chat if you are a woman, and I'm going to have a question for the men as well. But growing up, who were the women that you looked up to when you watched television as a little Black girl that you were like, I like her, I want to. You was a little Black girl, Kente? Okay. I mean, it's possible. This is 2016.
Yeah.
Right? And I want to know from the guys, who are the Black women that you like on television shows, whether it was when you were young that you look up to, or women that you see now where you're like, man, that sister's got it. Yeah, Claire Huxtable was like my TV mom. She was like everything. When I was a little girl, like she was everything. Everything when I was little.
My stepfather actually went to school with them. Leela Rashad and Debbie Allen and Felicia Allen, and their mother took them to Mexico, and they lived there for a year, and that's how they learned Spanish. So Xanadu, they did Spanish immersion. That's how they learned. So yeah, Claire Huxtable. I thought she was everybody's mom. I love Rudy's hair because it was so big, and you know, it was like her hair is so beautiful, and they let her just wear it, and they didn't try to pin it down, and it was just cute for a little girl, and we were the exact same age, you know. And I think Brandy, seeing her with the cute braids, you know. Moesha, and she was so fly, and she had the cute clothes, and she had I was jealous of the freedom that she had to go hang out with her friends because my mom was more strict, you know, different things like that. And she and I are the same age as well. So I think those are three people I could say in the media that kind of spoke to me. And then, you know, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because, you know, those positive images are so few and far between sometimes, you know, and when you see them, they're iconic and everybody knows them. I think from a more an adult perspective, I really like Girlfriends. Because it was a little of everything, the ratchet, the bougie, the down to earth, the crunchy granola. And while it plays into a few of the stereotypes, it was very relatable from, how you are with your friends, I think I cried when they canceled that show. I thought it was just like, it was just everything to me. And even living single, seeing
Yes.
women, and they're all different, and nobody is one way. Everybody's not ratchet. They have different careers and different jobs, and one person's an admin assistant, and one person owns a whole entire business. That seeing the gamut of careers and personalities, made it a very enjoyable show to watch.
Yeah, I was mad. That like, yeah, you couldn't tell me I wasn't her. Like I was all the way.
I loved her attitude. Smart, super smart, but sassy and feisty.
And crazy. She was
crazy and a nympho. Like
she's my kind of crazy. Like that's my level, my type of crazy. What about you, Steph? And then Steph, after you say yours, I want us to somebody, it doesn't matter who, to read through the comments and say some of the people that people are picking out in the chat. But go ahead, Steph.
Yeah, I was gonna say I liked Family Matters, seeing that family. I also like hanging with Mr. Cooper. Remember Mr. Cooper?
Oh, that's an old one.
Yeah, and I think the thing I remember most was it actually wasn't a media representation, but my mom got me a black Raggedy Ann doll. That changed everything for me. I was like, they got black versions of dolls, and I don't know if they had the black Barbie yet, but that black Raggedy Ann, I got so excited that I was always looking for black everything. I was like, I need a black Cabbage Patch doll. I need a black, and I was always asking her, because I really just learned that I had a black Bible. I had a black version of everything. And my mom would dress me up every Halloween. I was a black woman from the Bible. Like I was Zephora. Like I don't even know who these people are, but I was like a black female character from the Bible, from my black Bible. So that I remember that way more than some of the TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, people from the Bible were. Anyways, I'll read some of the comments. We got Claire Huxtable. Someone said, "Oh, y'all didn't like Nikki Parker." I see.
Oh, somebody said Cheryl Lee Ralph. Somebody said.
Yeah. What was that show?
What was the show? Somebody in the chat.
She was on Moesha.
Oh yeah. Moesha.
And I
the real one.
I just talked to my friend Crystal yesterday, and I was telling her about Diane Carroll as Julia. And it's an interesting show to watch with James Earl Jones on there. She's like the first lead, black actress, first black actress to lead a TV show. And I think it's an awesome achievement. She's a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Somebody said the first Aunt Viv.
Oh yeah.
Somebody put 227.
Yeah, Claudine. That's another one. Amen. Okay.
I was also obsessed with Dominique Dawes, and there was one figure skater, and I'm completely blanking on her name. She was from France.
I know exactly who you.
Yeah.
Something Bonelli.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, and she had coined her own move. She developed her own signature
that's what
move.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, she is black girl magic for real. She's awesome. Yeah. I remember that.
So one of the things that I want to do also, I want to open it up for Q&A, so if people want to jump into the seats, they can. Right now, what I want to hear from everyone, because we're getting near the end of of the programming. So there's a few more questions, and we both came up with a few questions that we want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Some magic. I can't do some magic right. I'm gonna do some magic at the end. I'm gonna do a poem.
Yeah.
Girl magic poetry for
poetry.
We can't just command it. Don't.
You know what I'm saying? You can't command the queen. Stephanie, do the hand like you did when they came in the room. Do your there you go. So what do you so we talked about Black women in the past. We talked about some of the challenges today. We talked about, you know, who we looked up. What do you see for the Black woman of tomorrow? People, Steph Squared, as well as the live chat. What do you see in terms of the Black woman tomorrow? What is she gonna look like?
Mm-hmm.
And not like a physical look like, but what is she gonna be like? What do you see her being like? I mean, and I don't mean to say this in a monolithic way.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
How is she going to be represented in also statistically? Like Steph, you said some statistics that I didn't know in terms of the rate at which they're going to school and how things are moving forward. So what do you expect the statistics to look like in terms of education or whatever other variables?
I think when you have more and more women going to school, Black women starting small businesses, starting their own business, I think that we have a generation of Black women that's really stepping into their power and their purpose. And I think we'll see more inventions. I think we'll see more cures. Black women hold the key to certain things. And when they are walking in their purpose and like living out their calling, we're going to see more. We're going to see a reflection of that. So I think that Black women, the statistics on businesses and education, I think that number will rise. I think you'll see more Black professionals. You'll see more Black heads, managers, leaders. Visually, you'll see more. But I also think we'll just have, I know that because of what's happening in our country now, people are shifting their focus to Black-owned businesses and say, oh, I didn't know that was Black-owned. Oh, this is Black-owned. I think once people start supporting these Black businesses that are largely started and maintained by Black women, our voice will grow. And what Steph was talking about, having that unified front, Greeks got behind that unified front to shut down that show. I think Black women will have a block, right? So like, you know, people don't say certain stuff on, I was thinking of, there was another show on, I think it was TLC about like, it was called My Husband's Not Gay or something. And it was about Mormon men who were attracted to other men, but had to marry. They can be attracted to men, but not act on their attraction. So they married women, but they were, for all intents and purposes, gay. And the response that they got from the LGBT community shut that show down, shut a TLC show down. And I think we start to see Black women become a block that have purchasing power, that have a voice, that you'll know you're not going to say certain stuff. Like we're still in the same era where what was the guy, Don Imus, right? Called right. Exactly. People still talking about Serena and her body. I think we'll see less and less of that as Black women become more prominent. So at least I'm hoping to see that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I agree with that, and I do see it moving that way, especially with the matriculation rates being so high to college and achieving it, you know, educationally, and so I think about today's Black woman, and I know we talked about, you know, we talked a little bit about this earlier, but I mean, Black women are just a mixture of struggle and success. Plain old hard work, you know, the misguided, the right and the righteous, you know, the conscious. It's just a melting pot, you know, genetically and culturally. And so, you know, it kind of like, how do we see ourselves individually and as a collective? It kind of begs that question. And I don't think there's a definitive answer, but it is something to think about. As we move forward in our daily lives and kind of set a legacy for ourselves and our children. I think that, you know, I really admire the achievements of Black women, and I have quite a few PhDs in my dad's side of my family. And they're on my Facebook feed. And so I get a lot of information about, so that's something I'm really proud of. I have two twin cousins that are PhDs. One's a law professor, and one is a professor of African American studies. And then I have a bunch of PharmD, people with PharmDs in my dad's side. So I think it's something that's really awesome. And then I see that, and they're mostly women. And so what I would like, I don't know, I guess I can't necessarily answer is how I see the Black woman tomorrow or in the future, but I can talk to what I would like to see us do, on a more personal level within our own circle of friends and with our, our insular sort of communities. And I think achievements are great. However, I'd like to see Black women being more supportive of those that don't necessarily fit the mold of maybe my upper class, upper middle class upbringing. They don't necessarily have a college degree, or those with the or those, the welfare queen. Being more supportive of those different sorts of Black women, because they are part of us and we are part of them. And trying to see things in a more practical perspective, because I think a lot of times Black people and we kind of have that, well, I got mine, you got yours mentality, and I'd like to see less and less of that. And I do see it going that way, especially with this focus on Black business, banking Black, things like that. And so I'm hopeful that it would move that way. And I'm hopeful that, we could be more supportive of the women that are struggling and don't have some of the advantages that maybe I've had or some of the other women in this room have had. So that's it for me.
Love that. Love all of that. I think for the Black woman of tomorrow, so I think I'm like you in terms of like there's something that I think will happen. There's something that I would like to see happen. I don't know it'll happen. I think that the level at which Black women feel free will increase. And I mean free in every way. Like I feel like Black women are starting to do more of wearing their hair naturally, however they want to wear it. They're starting to have more economic power, get higher in terms of like their education. And I think with that, and owning more businesses, and I think with that is going to come a certain level of freedom that is going to allow them to express in a multitude of ways. I think with one of the things that I would like to see is I would like to see diverse expression allowed, and also for like more acceptance in terms of like not even necessarily with the world, but like acceptance of like, okay, you super religious and you super ratchet, but we still friends, like we still girlfriends or whatever, you know what I mean? Or okay, you got XYZ number of degrees and homegirl over here is on welfare, but that's not something that is keeping us separate. I would like us not to be separated from class and education and SES status and whether this one is married or this one is single, because I think when we do get around a collective thing, I think then we can be a movement. Black Lives Matter was started by 3 women, you know what I mean? There's another hashtag, or Black Girl Magic. Black Girl Magic started by women. There's also another one called Say Her Name. That's about women who experiences police brutality, but we don't never hear about their name in the news. So there's the hashtag Say Her Name. No, it's Say Her Name, Wake Up Better. And then there's another one, Yes All Women. So there's all of these different movements that we could get behind collectively if we like just join forces and not be divisive. Wake Up Better said, I would like to see Black women upgrade their standards and push Black men to do better. That's a whole nother blab.
Whole nother blab.
That's a whole nother blab.
Don't start it.
Aaron.
No, I love your points, and I just wanted to echo, even within people who feel similar, right? same SES, same education, whatever, we still got to support each other. We got, you know, coaches tearing down other coaches. We got authors and counselors and, you know, blabbers, right? We got to support each other no matter what. And I think it's even more critical, like Steph was talking about, in the corporate world, we turn our backs sometimes, right? Like, well, I made it, so good luck with you, you know? We have to, where we are, look around and support that pipeline and share resources and be open and not be stingy. And we all can eat, right? We're not fighting over crumbs. We got a bread maker. So let's get to work. And I think that's gonna, like Rasheem said, that's gonna be crucial for us. If we can get that collective and long-term piece rather than short-term, me, I think we can really change. We can really, really change some things.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's something that I wanted to mention that I want all of us to give some input on, and then we're going to wrap up later. I actually have a kind of a freebie, I guess, for anybody who wants it. I'll put the link in there later for if people want to take advantage of it. But before we close out, I want to do two things. One, I want to thank everyone who is still on. I see Dante is still on. He's been with us since pretty much the beginning that we started about 2 hours ago. Crystal has been on for a very long time. Xanadu is with us. Wake Up Better has been staying in there strong. He may not be, you know how he do, you know. But he there is support and spirit. Okay, so he here. See, there you go. So he here in spirit. So one of the things that I want us to do, us to share, and I want everybody in the chat, all 11 of you that are still with us, I want you to think about and go back to your younger self. What did your younger self need to hear, need to know at any point in time? And what would you tell them now? Yeah. To encourage them, I should say that. What would you tell them now to encourage them? So I'll start and I'll let you guys think about it since I've had time to think about it. The thing that I would say to the younger Rasheem, if you're out there listening, I would say that you are smart enough, that you are strong enough, that you are pretty enough. And I would tell the younger version of me that you already have everything that you need within you right now to get you to that next best step. And I would also tell her that there is nobody that is above or below you. That you are enough all by yourself. See, I can tell you had to go there, didn't you? Okay, so that's what I would say to the younger Rasheem. Wake Up Better said he would tell his younger self to dream much bigger, much sooner. I like that.
Right, that's awesome. I think for me, I would say, you know, the way that you look is enough. You're pretty enough. Like, and I think that's kind of growing up in Houston. There are a lot of people here that are Creole descent. They come, you know, coming from Louisiana, and you see the stereotypical light skin with the long hair. And I don't fit in that mold. And those are all the girls that the boys had crushes on, you know, that colorism issue. And while I didn't think I was too dark, you know, or anything like that, I just thought that boys didn't like me. That's just what their preference was. And so I would definitely talk to my younger self about, you know, self-image and loving the skin that you're in, and, you know, not putting so much pressure on yourself as regarding dating and if boys like you, because you have so many other things to offer, and it'll happen. So I think that's the main advice I would give to my younger self.
Oh, that's very powerful. I echo all the concept of being enough. Is something I think I would have benefited from hearing when I was younger. So I echo that, and I would add that just for me to be myself, like, it's okay to be you. There's nobody that could be you, and you can't be anybody else, right? Lusting over what you don't know, or wishing you were somebody or somewhere else is a complete waste of time. And so use what you have and move forward with that rather than, you know, wishing that you had something else. For a long time, I was like, well, if I had this, then I could. Or if I was this, or if so-and-so would do this, then I could. And I really needed to know that I had the power to make it happen, but I had to be myself. That's the only way I could get it done.
I think for the future, for my future self, I want to set certain things in motion. And so being a project manager, I learned that it's not my job to know everything, but it's my job to engineer the process, and the answers will come. So I want to start running my life like a project and have those deliverables, so to speak, that you know I'm working towards. And so pushing to get the deliverable will give me the answers that I need. I want to work on, you know, being a mom. I want to be able to relate my experiences and talk to him in a way that is at his level, whatever that is, and whatever that understanding, and help him understand who he is in America and how he's viewed and how he can overcome that negativity or those perceptions or those stereotypes, and what he can do to rise above those things, and particularly because his dad is not as involved in his life. So seeking out other, making sure that I seek out positive Black men to mentor him, and then, for me and him, I need to, work on my legacy, and what is it that I want to leave behind, and for my future self, is entrepreneurship in my future? And if it is, how can I teach those skills to him as well, so that he doesn't have to navigate that corporate landscape like I do, and that he can be more self-sufficient. So those are some of the things I'm talking to my future self about, and we'll see how it goes. What about you, Steph?
I was going to quickly read the what we had on the side before we move. Xanadu says she needed to hear, "This is not your only option." Wake Up Better would tell his younger self to dream much bigger, much sooner. Kente, okay, I'm not reading that one. Exhale to Excel says the only thing I would say to younger Nikki, you were right when she lied. You were right. She lied when she said you weren't going to be anything, because you're all that and a bag of chips. Yes. C&D 1982, that you're good enough and that being a Black girl is cool. I actually used to wish I was a white male when I was elementary. Wow. I can relate to that because I wanted to be Puerto Rican so bad. Like, I wanted to be Puerto Rican so bad when I was in school. I was like, they have so much history. And, they're Boricuas. And I really, that's another blab. That's a whole nother blab. And I think that's it. I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, Jordan. And Jordan hopped on.
What's up, Jordan?
So I want to do a quick roll call to thank everybody who's in here, and we can just kind of take turns as we go. Dante, again, thank you for being on.
Who else we got? Wait, it's coming up. K Boogie. Okay, I feel like Kente changes his thing like every single day. He was a cowboy. He was a
life coach.
And a rapper.
Oh yeah, I forgot. But thanks, Kente, for hopping on.
Thank you.
I see James.
Mr. Wake Up Better. Thanks for being on.
I see. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Eddie.
Sharice, thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Jordan.
And Jordan and Xanadu. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. This is going well.
Awesome. So let me look. See, I got like this little makeshift. It's Aaron. I should say, all right, Wake Up Better. I like Wake Up Better. Ever since Steph said she stay woke, honey, I like Wake Up Better. So is there anything that would anybody like to come in and take a seat? and express anything around Black motherhood while we close out. Before we close out, any takeaways, any ahas, anything that was just like whatever you got from this, please do let us know. And one of the things that I want to share while we're doing that, there's this, I did this telesummit a while ago. I think it was last year actually, and it was 30 days. 30-day telesummit for busy women on the go. And it covers everything from like, you want to start a business, you want to spice up your love life, you want to get calm and tranquil, you want to work on your inner spirituality. It's a 30-day thing. And I'm not saying like this is like a total freebie. So what happens is you click on that, it takes you to a site. And when you go to the site, it just sends you the auto recording each day, just sent to your inbox of that auto recording setup. So any closing thoughts from our ladies here on Black womanhood or Black girl magic, or anything that you would like to say? Any questions? Anything?
No question.
Silence of the Lamb. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this blab. It's been real. There's one of the blabs that are coming up is there's going to be one on Black motherhood. That one is going to be talking about mother-daughter relationships. The link to that one. I'm trying to get Steph on board to talk about mothering while Black or mothering while single. So I'm gonna see if I could talk her into that. But right now, that's the link to the next lab. If you like this one, we'll have more that are focused around this topic. And I think that's all I got.
This was great.
All right. Oh, Corey came right at the end. Hi, Corey.
Hey, Corey.
I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. Thank you again for everybody who is here live. Thank you for everybody who is watching the replay. If you want to see the replay, I will be putting it up on YouTube within about 48 hours. So maybe if you wanted to watch it again, or you wanted to share it, or you could check it out on the next blab. If you want to, let's give them a way to keep in contact with each one of us. So if you want to follow us, or you want to get social, or you want to, if you want to get social, or you want to get fit is how I like to call it. Facebook, Instagram. I forgot what I used the T for. So I'm on Facebook as s.rasheem. That's the one that I got space on right now for topics such as this. s.rasheem. If you put those in, you'll find me. Thank you. And if you want to find me on Twitter, I'm at s.rasheem. And also you could go to my website, which is s.rasheem. Phew. So how do they get in contact with you, Steph G?
I'm Cultivated Sense. So on Twitter, you can see Cultivated Sense. Facebook is facebook.com/Cultivated Sense. Instagram, for some reason, is Cultivated Sense Coaching. Don't ask. And you can go to my website at stephaniegostin.com. So spelled Ghost O-N.
Cool. You could find me on Twitter as SoSoSteph, of course, and then on Instagram as SoSoSteph_. That's it.
All right. Thank you for everyone for joining, and we're going to close out. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Oh yeah, the poem.
See, there go Kente. There go Kente with the come through. All right, so psych, just kidding, not ending yet. Gonna do the poem, and I'm just gonna do Blues for Keisha just because we're talking about Black women.
Oh yeah, I love this.
All right, Blues for Keisha. Closed minds and open legs, steady fed, lies, semen, and oblivion. Breeds ignorance, obscurity, and insecurity, and I am speaking from experience. Only because I was you, looking for love in all those places mama looked, hooked on the idea of someone actually loving me and showing me affection other than erections, and I speak not in judgment but in truth. Circumstance and early awareness is the only difference between me and you, Keisha. It could have been me too. 18 years young with 3 kids because I didn't always use protection. There's no need in me running from it because every time I look at you, I see my reflection. I don't look down at you and I don't judge you because I know no one ever told you that you are a queen. Beautiful black goddess, salt of the earth. And at your age, you should be doing better than having babies. You should be giving birth to ideas, prosperity, virtue, hidden philosophies, challenging Socrates. And please know that because you've done this, I nor the creator loves you any less. You still royalty, at least to me. And in some ways, I feel like I fail you, but I hail you because you didn't hide your irresponsibility with medical distortions or man-made procedures called abortions. And if no one else took the time to say it, I love you. Because I know you got your idea of the way black women should behave from medias that defame you and songs that shame you and women parading around being flamboyant, obnoxious, and loud. And that is the image that supposedly represents us as strong, black, and proud. Pissed off that the system that birthed oblivion and the media that feeds the sickness tell you lies about your body, then exploit your thickness. Now I hope that you close your legs, but open your eyes, heart, and mind. Look within to find that love, honor, respect, and peace of mind. I feel it's my responsibility as your sister to reach you so I could teach you, or better yet, find you to remind you. You were created in the image, so I still call you a goddess. No time to be modest, but I will be honest. You'll disgrace your crown if you continue to get down under lustful sheets and on horny beds. But read, meditate, and grow spiritually instead. A blues for Keisha. There it goes.
Yay.
That was really great.
It gives me goosebumps, and I've heard it 3 times.
All right. Thank you, Kinte. Thank you, Xana. I appreciate it. Now I feel like I'm going to have to do a different poem every time I close out one of these.
You should. That should be your signature.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
I think she
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Having my sisters, like, I feel like they help me to be a better person. They help me to be a better woman because they're so different from me. And it allows me to see people who are so different from me and love them and not see that difference as a hindrance. You know what I mean? To appreciate the contrast. Whatever, because I love my sisters.
That's deep.
The next poem for Kinte should be okay. I'm gonna write a poem for Kinte, and that'll be my next poem. But thank you again for everybody who stayed on to the end. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording right now. If you guys want to do an after show, feel free. But good night.
Bye bye.